Speaking at the event, Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation Professor Joseph emphasized the effectiveness of flood forecasting and early warning, stating that there are some of the core factors associated with flood risk management in order to minimize the negative impact of flood on lives, properties, agriculture, and a host of assets.
Flood has been the most frequent natural disaster in Nigeria, with devastating impacts on the poor and the vulnerable populations who live along river courses and are dependent on the productivity of the river ecosystem and the fertile floodplains for their livelihoods. Therefore, flood forecasting and flood early warning are among the most effective flood risk management strategies to minimize the negative impacts of flood on lives and property.
The annual flood outlook is also aimed at building the resilience of the poor and those in vulnerable communities by reducing their exposure to climate-related disasters.
It is also aimed at building the resilience of the poor and those in vulnerable communities by reducing their exposure and vulnerability to climate-related disasters and other economic, social, and environmental shocks, while harvesting the positive effects of flooding for sustainable growth and economic growth development.
On his part, Minister of State for Water Resources and Sanitation, Bello Goroyo, expressed optimism in the 2024 annual flood outlook to create the awareness to the people needed to promote resource planning and sustainable socio-economic development through adequate flood risk mitigation and efficient water resource management.
That this year's annual flood outlook AF4, which is tailored towards effective management of flood risk for achieving full security agenda of our dear President HYDROLOGICAL Ahmed Tinubu in our dear nation, will create the much needed awareness for promoting resource planning and sustainable socio-economic development through adequate flood risk mitigation strategies and efficient water resources management.
Best Orator reporting for BTV News.